Age of Fantasy Regiments. It's time for a Boneman Broman rematch. In this corner, we've got 2 units of double-sized zombies, 2 units of super-sized skeletons, 1 unit of wraiths. We'll try to remember their ambush ability this time. All led by a Bone Master. Yeah, he's a Wizard 1. The undead represent 990 points. The chivalrous kingdoms, 950. A little more complicated here. We got a whole lot going on. King Hopper is right here on his horse. He is backed up by a Realm Defender, Wizard 1, and a Peasant Levy. These are Foot Knights. Is that what they're called? Yeah, Foot Knights. We got a unit of Longbowmen, a double-sized unit of Men-at-Arms, and then we've got a unit of Quest Knights and a unit of Grail Knights. You can tell the difference between because the Grail Knights have, which one has the great weapons? Right, the Grail Knights have the lances. The Quest Knights have the big honking weapons. Let's look at the table. We have blocking terrain, blocks line of sight, blocks movement, not line of sight, woods, difficult terrain, and then we've got grass, which is difficult terrain. The grass does not provide any cover bonus, but the woods do. And then, of course, we've got a hill here in the very center. I'm going to roll 3 dice. The yellow die is for the Bromans. The green die is for the Bonemen. Whoever rolls higher gets to place the first victory objective. And, of course, it'll be D3 plus 2. That is the purpose of the white die. So we have 5 victory objectives, and the greenies are going to place the first one. And the table looks a little something like this. The Bromans placed their choices are out in the open where the knights can take advantage, and the Bonemen put theirs in cover, difficult going to slow down the knights. 5 objectives really puts the Bonemen behind the 8 ball. They only have a total of 6 units. Now, they have not deployed their ambushers yet. They're going to wait till turn 2, see what kind of hijinks those guys can get up to. Basically, the plan is to seize these 3 points right here. They know that this one is going to be risky with all those horseback knights with the impact. So, if we can seize these 3 and hang on to those, particularly hanging on to these 2 with the big boys, the big units, these skeletons will stick around for a good long while. They have a fighting chance. As for the Bromans, not having a stream to contend with will help them considerably. They have a nice broad front. They've got their Foot Knights back here in the backfield. They're going to be playing safety for when those wraiths show up to cause trouble. They can watch the backside. We've got basically a really solid, even force. Our peasants are on the left, and our longbow are on the right. The longbow have a 15-inch range. They're going to be able to start whittling this unit down, soften them up, so maybe these guys can wheel in and grab that point if need be. Otherwise, we can use these peasants to go grab that first point. It's just off screen over here to your left. We can just charge up, do a bunch of damage, and then rely on, we'll kind of see how things develop. We've only got 4 turns, but that's the way it works. Now, the undead are going to get to go first, and on this first turn, it's all going to be movement, so I'm just going to go ahead and, as usual, first turn movement, jockeying for position. I'm just going to move them all, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what decisions were made. But essentially, the undead are going to go ahead and, we'll take a look at what spells we have available and try to get them up the field as fast as possible. And of course, these undead, the zombies here, can only move 3 inches. They're going to move up into 4 inches. So they're going to move up into this forest and claim that one at the end of round 1. No big surprises here. The Bone Master was able to get off his motivational spell, which allowed these zombies and these skeletons to move an extra inch because they're rushing. Our, what do we call this guy? High Champion used his war duty to advance these spear unit 3 inches before their regular move, which allowed them to move another 6. So they have moved up and they've taken that objective marker. So we already have 2 versus 2. The one thing that we have to pay attention to, the last unit to activate on turn 1 were these bowmen, who advanced just a couple of inches to secure their flanks. And now they're going to shoot. Because they advanced, they are allowed to take fire at these skeletons right here. The archers are firing with an attack of 5. They're hitting on 5s. They get a total of 5 hits. We will remove those misses. The skeletons are defending on 4s. So 4 wounds becomes just 1 wound, but hey, we'll take it. When you suffer a casualty as a result of shooting... Oh, did we take a morale test? No, they do not. Shooting only causes morale tests when it takes you below half of your starting strength. So that does tie up the end. The White Wizard here did try to get off a defensive spell, kind of bless these two units, but he rolled a 2 and he failed. So that's going to be the end of turn number 1. And because the archers were the last to go, our skeletons are going to get to activate first. Here we do need to slow down a little bit. The undead are going to hold off on bringing their wraiths on. They can come on during any one of the undead's activation. I'm going to try to force the Bromans to commit before we do that. So we'll start off with these guys. We know they're going to move up 2 inches to, and now they're not going to be able to take this third objective marker, but they are going to be able to kind of turn, and they will be just an inch in it. So we are playing at half scale because we're using 15 millimeter figures. These guys, I already measured it before I started the camera. They're more than an inch and a half away from this victory marker. So they haven't seized it yet, but they're putting pressure on it. And that's going to force the Bromans to react. The Bromans, however, are not going to react with these peasants because the peasants are going to get absolutely obliterated by these guys. They have a difficult choice to make. Do they charge with these knights at the zombies? That would be a front on front. The zombies are going to do 20 points of damage. Problem is you got another unit of zombies over here that can then hit them in the flanks after we line up. So instead, we're going to challenge the Bone Wizard. We're going mano a mano, boss on boss. And the fun thing is, before we attack, because our high champion is within 3 inches of these guys, he can command them, hey, why don't you guys move forward? They're going to move forward there. Now, they are still in difficult ground, but the rule states they can move forward 3 inches. Well, I mean, that's kind of... Basically, they get a free advance move. So now they have put the victory objective behind them, and when the skeletons come at them, bro, unless these spearmen fall back completely, they will maintain control of this victory objective. But we need to deal with this combat first. Our high champion has impact 1, AP... Well, wait a minute. He's AP 3, and he has 3 attacks. He has a quality of 4, so he gets a total of 3 hits on the Bone Master. AP3 means the Bone Master is only saving on 6s. He doesn't get any, and he goes down. That's the end of his spellcasting ability. But our leader is now, he's a little bit on his own, isn't he? I guess we could chase him off with these, and this is where we put the pressure on the undead. Do we overwhelm the unguarded leader with these guys? If we do, they're going to get charged, and this is where having those secure flanks really pays off, because it puts the undead in a position... Well, they don't have any good choices here, do they? I guess we'll go ahead and push these guys in. Now, there's not a whole lot of room here for our troops. Just bear in mind, our skeletons have moved forward. They have made contact with the men-at-arms, and so we have to do a nice big fight right here. It's going to be 10 dice versus 10 dice. The Guardians are going to strike first, and they have poison, meaning any 6 that's rolled will do not just 1 wound, but 3 wounds, and they've got at least a pair of those. They are hitting on Guardians, hitting on 4s. So we get a grand total of 1, 2, 3, well, there's a 4 there, so we get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 hits altogether. Each of these, remember, counts as 3. The human spearmen are defending on 5s. And they are going to save all but, well, they're going to save 4 of them altogether. So 6 go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I guess we want to counterpunch, because this is the one that we're probably going to wind up having an opportunity to do that, isn't it? They are going to be hitting on 5s. And with just 1, 2 hits, they're not going to do a whole lot of damage, are they? And not only that, but the skeletons save both of those, forcing our spearmen to make a morale check with a morale of... They have a quality of 5. That morale of 4 means that they are wavering. So here's a little white flag of wavering to remind us. But they still have more than half their models, which means the skeletons have to fade back that inch. And that will be the end of that combat. It is now the Bromans' turn, and they're just going to hold these guys right where they're at. Which, again, puts the pressure to commit on the undead. And they are happy to come over here and advance a grand total of 4 inches, putting that objective behind them. Now, they're going to still take some arrow shots, but we saw how limited those are. These spearmen are going to challenge these knights. Do you really want to have this fight? Might not go well for you. So that being the case, let's see what our wizard here can do. He can target friendly units. He's got wild form. He basically blesses them to hit, or they can do better in defense. And I tell you, given that we're on turn number 2, I'm inclined to maybe just deny that flank altogether. We're going to move our wizard over here to the gap where he can start doing having some fun and doing some effect over here. Remember, we only need to control 3 of these. And I'm kind of liking the fact that we've got 3 in the back and maybe a 4th that we can take. And these spearmen over here, they cannot afford to run too far away from that objective, because if they do, the archers can always sprint up and take it at the 11th hour. So these guys are kind of pinned in place too. The undead will hold this zombie unit right there. They're fine with that location. Which means now and we'll go ahead and we'll run these archers. Are going to take another shot at these skeletons here. As with before, they're shooting and they are hitting on, what did I say it was before? 4s? The longbowmen are going to be hitting on 5s rather, so they get a total of 1-2 hits, and the skeletons are saving on 5s themselves. And they fail both of those, so 2 more go down. They're just kind of whittling away at them. No big deal. Then, if the undead want to bring those wraiths on, they have to come on right now, and I think we do. Or maybe they're not. It's at the start of any round after the first, so they're going to come on at the beginning of round number 3. We still have to finish up this round number 2, and to do that, we're going to go ahead and bring our our peasants up to seize control of this objective marker. Remember, the zombies were too far away and they are done moving, so we're done there. We still have to move both of our units of knights and our foot knights. And we're going to go ahead and get stuck in. These boys are going to charge. Remember, they are fast, so they are able to move up to, in my case, normally it would be 6, it's 8. And of course, 8 inches is that far. So they've got plenty of room to impact this unit right here. We are going to take the risk, and then this unit has to kind of slide around, and they may fall over a little bit. These are lancers with AP1. They're going to be hitting, so meaning that they've done 5 wounds already. The zombies have to make 5 saves. They also get to roll 5 more dice as Grail Knights, and they have a quality of 4. So they get a total of 4 more hits. So 9 hits altogether have to be saved. And the zombies have a defense of 6. The AP1 doesn't do us a whole lot of good, does it? Only saving on 6s. They're going to miss none, so they're going to be knocked down to just 11 guys. Now, 11 guys does mean, and we'll just take those off. So there they are. They're all dead. They get to make 20 attacks. Quality 6. These guys have 2 attacks per turn, hitting on 5s. We're going to have to roll the dice twice. So they missed 3 out of these. So they get 7 hits on the first. And on the second round of attacks, they get back in there. They get hitting on 5s and 6s. So 7 and 4, they hit 11 times. Not a bad attack altogether. Going to have to add in an extra die. My Grail Knights have a defense of 3. Saving on 3s or better, and they only lost 1 guy altogether. The odd man out. So he goes bye-bye. Now, the zombies are wavering, which means our knights get thrown back that 1 inch. Half an inch, I guess you could say. All things considered, I think the Grail Knights have to be rather happy with the way that turned out. Only losing 1 guy to 20 attacks, kind of impressive. Now it's going to be time to finish off the movement for the Bromans, and we're going to go ahead and race some help over here to secure this point. Our foot knights are going to race over. And not only that, but these guys are also going to do the same. But movement gets a little bit weird. Oh, and these guys are just going to hold steady to remove their wavering. Because these guys are going to turn around and head out, things get a little complicated. You can move directly backwards up to half your move. Remember, these guys are fast, meaning instead of just the 3 inches, they can advance in a retrograde manner up to 4 inches, which will take them... Wait, were they there? No, it's front to front. There we go. So they've kind of pulled back and left their bowmen alone, and now our spearmen are going to have to decide how they're going to react to that. I think that's it for this turn. Has everybody gone? Just go over one more time. Yep, and we cleaned up those guys. So that's the end of turn number 2. Let's move on to turn number 3 and bring those wraiths on. As before, we're going to bring the wraiths on back here, and they are going to challenge for this objective marker over here. If the wraiths can take that, and the zombies hold on to the objective in the woods, and on the far left, this could go the way of the undead. But the first unit they want to activate is this unit of zombies is going to make a second push against the knights. Kablow. And now we have to... They're going to make a total of 20 attacks. Once again, the zombies are hitting on 5s. And where's a good place to roll these? They're going to only miss 1, 2, 3, 4 on the first batch. So that's 6 saves for our knights. And on the second batch, they are going to miss 1, 2... They're going to miss all but 2. So it's a total of 8 saves. And our knights have a defense of 3. So 3s are better. They're going to fail on 2 of those. That will cost them 2 more knights, which puts them below half strength. They have to make a quality check. With a quality of 4, they made it. So now they are wavering. And once again, Now, do we want to attack back? No, we do not. No, we do not. We're gonna hold off. Because the zombies pull back, and now we can charge in. Man, that's only going to be 4 attacks, though. Do we really want to clear these guys out, or do we leave them there? Let's hold. Let's see what these guys are going to do. If these guys come out, then our leader can come jump on that objective marker. These guys are pinned in place by the need to secure that. In fact, what we can do is bring our leader. Remember, he's fast. We can bring him around to the backside. Kablow. Wait a minute. Let's think about that. Where do we want to position him? He's fast enough, and he can pivot up to 90 degrees. So we're going to move him. We want him to be more than 4 inches away from the nearest guy. So we can move him over to here, and then pivot 90 degrees so he's facing that way. What that does is it allows us to sweep in back here, challenge for this, and deny that objective marker. It is now the the undead's turn. And what do we want to do? Let's go ahead and bring with these wraiths out of the way, let's go ahead and bring let's bring our wraiths. They are slow. Are wraiths slow? Do they still only move 4 inches? Wraiths are ambush ethereal undead, and because they are undead, now they're not slow though, so these guys can move up to 6 inches a turn, and we're going to move them. Pivot right around here so you can see that. They are going to move the 6 inches up to just right about here, basically, and threaten the rear flank of these peasants. And that being the case, let's go ahead and just turn our peasants 180 degrees for their activation. So they are ready to receive that charge. And the base, remember, is not the size, so we're going to put the little victory marker there. Now we can do, what do we want to do here? It is the undead's turn. We're going to keep squatting on that one. Got to force the issue here. The skeletons advance. They're going to get 10 attacks. 6s count as 2 hits. And that's a lot of 6s. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a total of 12 hits. 13, 14. So they got 15 hits against these spearmen. The spearmen have a defense of... men-at-arms have a defense of 5. Got to roll 15 of them, and they are only going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 on this batch. We're going to roll 5 more, and they get 1 more. So they are going to lose 10 guys. They are down to just 4, and now we can take out the little sabbat. And here's our 4 lone spearmen standing there. They need to make a quality check. They have a quality of 5. And with that, they will stand there, but I think they are still wavering, are they not? Nothing happens. The skeletons fall back. They may be able to take that objective next turn, but they're going to have to wait till next turn. What a heroic stand here in turn number 3 for these guys. Do we want to go ahead and counterpunch? Yeah, let's go ahead. There's no threat to us, and we can maybe knock off 1 or 2 of those zombies. They're only going to do 1 hit. The undead have a defense of... The guardians have a defense of 4. It doesn't do them any good. So both of these units are now spent, and it is the undead's turn. Now the only thing... So they're going to hold these guys. Why don't you guys go? And our hero blaster wizard, what is he going to do? We're going to move him up 3 inches. That puts him within 3 inches of this zombie unit, and he's going to use a blast spell. This is called Blood Hex. He needs a 5 to get it off, and he does not. But he does help protect these guys' flanks. The last action for the undead is over here on the right flank, where this unit of spears is going to hold. They need to protect this objective. The undead have to assail and collect 1 more objective before the end of the turn. And if they move to attack either of these units, either the knights or the bowmen, then the other unit is going to move up and take that objective. So they're just full defense. I warned you it was tough on the undead. They just don't have enough units. They can grab 2, and then everything else has to try to secure 1 of those other objectives. These Foot Knights will pivot 90 degrees and advance 6 inches in this direction. They're going to be just short of the wraiths, but they are going to be helping out the peasants here. So the wraiths are now in trouble. And then the last activation for the Bromans is going to be pivoting on this. Is this turn? Yeah, at the end of this turn 3, these guys are going to pivot, and they will ride where to? I think we just park them right here so that, well, what happens? How far are those guys? If those guys advance to here, if they pivot and advance, they could deny. This could go back to being neutral. But we don't want to expose our flank, so I think we need to kind of swing them up into this area here and make... Oh, you know, we have one other thing we can do. These guys are going to... Before we move them up, I forgot, these 2 Lancers are going to go ahead and just try to do a little bit more damage on this zombie unit. Now, the Lancers have impact. They are quality, what did we say it was, 4? So they automatically do 2 hits, plus that's another hit. The zombies are saving on 6s only, and they get 1 save. So the zombies lose 2 figures. And now zombies, because they're undead, they don't make a morale check. Instead, the 9 guys who are left are going to make a die roll, and on a 1 or a 2, one of them dies. So another 1-2 zombies is going to go down, and then the Lancers have to fall back to there, and that's going to be the end of the turn. Turn number 3. On turn number 4, the undead get to take the first activation. And that means finishing off these spearmen right here. That's going to be a total of 20d6. Or no, it's just 10, except this counts as 3 hits. The Guardians are... These guys are really tough, man. Quality 4 means we are going to get a total of... I think that is what it looks like. We're going to get a total of 5, plus the 2 is 6 hits altogether. The Spearmen are going to be rolling on their defense. They are only at a defense of 5. There's only, oh, they got to save all 6 of them, even though there's 4 of them, right? And they get no saves, so they are done for. And then our spearmen are going to be able to make their 2-inch move up to here and claim this objective. Meaning the undead are now in control. Well, they're not in control, but they are winning by a score of 3 objectives to 2. The good guys now get to go. And we're going to start by bringing our wizard up here. And that turns this objective neutral. Because he moved that far, he's going to try to blast these guys, looking for a 5. He doesn't get it, but at least he challenged. And then it's going to be the undead's turn. Didn't work out. So these wraiths didn't work out so well. We're going to try to finish off this unit. We're only going to get 1, 2, 3. We've only got 2, 4, 6, 8 guys left. So we're only going to get 16 attacks on those knights. But that's going to give us, with the looking for 5s and 6s, that's 5 on the first 10. And then added to that, we will get another. So 7 saves for these Grail Knights, or this Quest Knights. 7 saves, saving on 3 ups. They are going to make all but 1. Is that right? Yeah, the Grail Knights. 1 remains. Now, he does need to make a quality check on a 3 or better. And he fails, so he rides off. Our zombies now get to make a 3-inch move. And what do we want to do with those guys? So these zombies now can move and... Ooh. Does it have to be straight ahead, or can they pivot up to 90? They can move up to 3 inches in any direction. Well, that's 1.5 inches. And if we move them... Oh, they're a little too far away. I was thinking... Slide them 1.5 inches over here to challenge for this point, but they don't. They're still too far away. They're 2 inches from that objective. So that objective is not undermined just yet. The knights, we're not going to do that just yet. We could charge with the peasants and then bring these guys in to deal with the wraiths. Or we can shoot with our bowmen. We're going to take the shot. I don't know. We're just kind of killing time at this point. This is a done deal over here. We're going to get 4 hits on those skeletons. And those skeletons are going to save just 1 of them. The longbowmen have a quality of 4. The guardians have a defense of 4. So they're actually going to save 2. And just 2 more skeletons are going to go down. And then, you know what? Let's just go ahead and be vindictive and come at these guys. We're going to roll 10 dice. Hitting on 5s. 6s are... No, hitting on 4s. 6s count as 3. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9 hits altogether on a unit that is only saving on 5s. And, ooh, look at that. 4 go down. So they will be forced to make a quality check, which comes up poor. They are wavering, and the skeletons fall back a little bit. And at the end of the longbowmen have already shot, so they're going to be wavering for the rest of the turn. The last couple of bits we got to do, we'll bring our boss in to contest for this objective marker. And that turns the green purple. The best the zombies can do is turn around. Although, if we... who do we do first? Let's go ahead and bring our zombies charging these knights. Are they within 4 inches? They are within 4 inches. These guys should have stayed back just a little bit. So the zombies now are going to hit the knights and get 20 attacks, in which they will be hitting on 5s. And they're going to get a pretty good attack on this first roll. That's a total of 6 hits on the first one. Maybe our knights should have charged them. Although, oh, you know what that does, though? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hits altogether. So we'll roll our saves for these Quest Knights who have a defense of 4. And they're only going to make 1, 2, 3 saves on the first batch. And, oh, that's good. So they made a total of 5. So they only lose 3 guys. And they have to make a quality check. And they succeed, so they will stand their ground. And that's going to be it. Now the zombies fall back, and really the hope was if they had killed these guys, then the zombies could take this one, but that would be a trade. All that did was it gave this objective marker to the Bromans. And now it's gone from contested, so we got to figure out what happens with this last one over here. Or do we? Let's take a look at what's about to happen here. We've got some foot men-at-arms that are going up against wraiths, and these peasants are backing up. Don't worry about those zombies. They've already gone. The point is that with the Bromans controlling 2 objective markers, and we'll zoom out and show you the whole battlefield, there's no way the skeletons can win this one. We have to play this out. It is the Bromans' turn, and they have to decide which unit is going to charge. Well, these guys haven't gone yet either, have they? They opted not to counterattack, which means they can charge over here as well. So really, it's the Bromans' game to lose. We can attack these wraiths with our foot knights, and that forces the wraiths to swing around to deal with these guys. The foot knights are going to be hitting on, what do we got here? They got AP3, and they're hitting on 4s. Now, there's only 5 of them. Hitting on, what did I say, 4s? So they get 3 hits, and the wraiths are going to be defending on, 6s only, and they get none. So 3 go down, and now the wraiths have to decide, yeah, we're going to hit back with 2 of our guys. They get 2 hits. The men-at-arms are going to get 1 save. They're only going to lose 1. So the wraiths have to make the wraiths make a morale check, but they are undead. So every 1 or a 2, and then these guys fall back. Then the peasants will hit the wraiths in the flank, and the peasants are going to get 10 attacks, hitting on 6s. And they're only going to get 1 hit, so the wraiths try to save that hit and fail. Then the last guy has to make his, quote, morale check on a 1 or a 2. He is dead, and that is the end of the game. The wraiths did not get their chance to attack, and in fact, these guys still have an action. You know, they could charge over. They could pivot, charge over here, and hit these guys. But what's the point? The undead have 1 objective. We are challenging for 1 here. That's neutral, doesn't count. If the zombies had hung on to this one, that still would have been a score of 1-2 for the Bromans, as it is 3-1 for the Bromans. And really, just having all the extra men and mobility is key on this one. That the Bromans had the ability to dictate the flow of the battle and move to where they wanted to plug the gaps. We went with a much better plan by starting on this side of the battlefield. They had lots of room to spread out and protect their flanks. Starting over there might have been harder for them, although they could have done the same thing and just plonked their longbow here and had to sweep up through. So it might have been a mistake for the undead to choose that board edge, but I guess they kind of had to because they're so slow that if they'd started over here, they really would have had a hard time even threatening that 5th victory point or that 5th objective. So you tell me. I'm sure I made a few mistakes. I love to hear about it in the comments. And I mean that. I forget things, and you guys remind me. And the next time I play, I don't forget because I don't want to look like a dope a second time in a row. And if you can think of a better way for just a 6-unit army to challenge 5 full points, let me know. That's what we're here for, guys. I'm praying for you.